my mind most of the time is something that William James said a long time ago. He says, the real voyage of self-discovery is not in seeking new lands, but in seeing old lands with new eyes. Old lands with new eyes. One, but each person just got one. You have 4,000 DBOs on their team this time next year. All you guys won a month to talk the same thing. Now, what if all of those 4,000 DBOs had 5 customers? That would be 20,000 customers. They had 10 customers, 40,000 customers. All he really did was find one person a month. How big do you see it? Now, there are people here, thousands of people already on pre-launch, but you can see how we can have hundreds of thousands of DBOs with the fastest growing franchise group in North America, or set records in history. So how big do you see it? So that's going to impact you. So not only how big you see the company, but how big do you see it for your city, for your local market, for your family? So do you see it that way? So if you had 100 DBOs, they could get 100 customers over a year, 2 customers a week. You think you can find 2 customers a week and spend $25 to get a card? The answer is, of course, you can do that. A little bit of time doesn't take much. Maybe take an hour or 2 a week, really, to go get a couple customers. But if you did over the course of a year, at 100 DBOs, and 100 customers, that's 10,000 customers. And if you're making $1, $2, $3 a month per customer, that's an extraordinary income. How big do you see it? What's the number? So you need to play with the numbers for yourself. Put 5 on paper, 25, 125, 625, 3125, 15,625. You start putting that down at times and times 3 customers or 5 customers. How big do you see it? So start with the end in mind, and then just start building simple principles to get there. So, real simple. I like to bring this up. This whole session here that I'm doing is about onboarding someone new. So I will teach you, how big do you see it? Let's work together. I just ask you some questions, and then the next thing I let you all know is, hey, we're a startup awareness, like Eric just said. We're on our way to growing up. We're not there yet. And we need to do our part in educating everybody that over the next 3 or 4 months between now and launch, that we're part of the solution. So if there's a challenge we face, I'm part of the solution. I've been a part of at least a dozen startups in my lifetime in the last 40 years. Some are wildly successful, super, a lot of fun. Some are not. They just didn't make it. But I learned something in every experience. And one of the most important things is to find people that are tolerant and understand that going in. When I tell you we're a startup, don't complain over and over and over again about every problem. Yeah, we're a startup. Remember we talked about that. Every week, I have this conversation with people almost every single day. Yeah, we're a startup. Yeah, we haven't launched yet. I gave you, someone the other day said, I'm gonna quit. He had a problem, he's dealing with some stuff, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna quit. And I thought, you can't quit it. They didn't even start. You can't quit something that didn't start. It hasn't even started. You can't quit something that didn't start. You didn't start. Right? So I said, remember I said we started with that. Right now we're learning, right? And so you can learn why you learn, but it's important that everybody understands that. The other thing I want people to know right at the beginning is you want to make sure you begin to get your card. A lot of you and a lot of your team members are signing up to get into business, but they're not actually activating the card. And I want to warn you as I'm coaching you right away, when you're onboarding someone new, let's make sure you got your card, you signed up. Let's go through the banking process. Let's get, let's fill out the account, and then here's how to order your card. An enormous amount of people that sat back and did not get their card for a little while, they just forgot to order it. Like they got in, like, oh, I didn't know I need to add card. Yeah, add card, yeah, add card, that's it. And then we can ship it to you, put your address in it, because if you don't add card, you don't get a card. Okay, you know how I know that? It happened to me. I was like, oh, add card, yeah. So I had to learn from experience, right? So it takes me a couple extra weeks. I'm just wondering if the company's slow. And no, I was slow. User error. I was very slow. So educate your people so they're not slow, right? So it's okay. I learned. So my mistake doesn't have to be your mistake. Learn from other people's mistakes. It's really, really, important thing. Right? A wise person learns from the mistakes of others, right? So a thing, checks and deposits. So the other kind of thing you want to look at in the back office, just make sure the address to where you want your money sent is accurate also, so they can get it to you. And then when you can upload your information for the banking shortly, you'll be able to add your ACH account. Make sure it's accurate. Get that done early. You can get it done, so that you get your money on time. How many people like getting their money on time? There's a few things I know about more of it. I like more of it than less of it. I like it sooner than later. Those are good principles, right? So that's how you get it. So make sure, we're walking people through simple things. So support tickets in the back office. A lot of people filled out their support tickets. Ian will talk a little bit later about best practices and how to reach out to some people along those lines. But just help guide people. There's a banking support piece and another support piece, and say, but the first support piece is me. So how many people here are senior managers? Raise your hand. Raise your hand really high. Stand up. Let me see. Stand up. You're a senior manager. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. All right, give them a hand real quick. So the responsibility of the senior managers and VPs is that's your first call. Work with, if you don't know who your upline senior manager is, we talked about that today. I'll go into some of the values of that in a few minutes, but the point is, they're your first line of support because they might have the answers to a lot of things very quickly, or they know someone who can get the answers faster before you send something in. I also noticed that if you're a senior manager, you go look through your genealogy and you're not really sure of a lot of people in your downline yet, pick up the phone and call them. Like, think of them as a team. Like, if you want to motivate your team, just call them and say, hey, if you ever need any help, I'm here for you. So to be a good leader, if you have a vision, you want people to count on you. And in a few minutes, I'll talk about the value of leaning on your upline. If you're not leaning on your upline, you're making a massive mistake. See, when your upline is working in your downline, you're making money. See, every time I have certain DBOs on my team, they schedule me for a couple hours during the day. Like, hey, Scott, I gotta lock you up for Tuesday from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock on the Zoom line. Great. And all they do is I just sit there. It's an appointment for 2 hours now. Here's another one 30 minutes, another one 30 minutes, another one. So they'll call and say, hey, I want to lock like 3, 4, 5 quick freeways. When's your best time? So I'm looking for people that are looking for me to go to work. I'm here to serve you. So as senior manager, if your group isn't growing, VPs, if your group isn't growing, it's just because you're not introducing new people. It's the law of averages, right? So the more people you talk to, the more people that can say yes, the more people that can join you, the more people that will actually take action. So you're the first support ticket. You're the one to be responsible for. The only thing that's really holding you back is you. So here's the thing. You want to visualize like a national ATM network. That's right away for me. I just thought, man, wouldn't it be cool? What if in this room right here, you look at 350 or so people, you're like, man, how cool would it be if all of you were ATM machines? You were my ATM machines, man. That'd be fire. Like, visualize if everyone in here was your ATM machine. And you're making money every time someone took out a withdrawal. You got the $2 and $3 fees. Like, you know how much money comes out of those ATM machines? That's craziness. And so I had a friend about 30 years ago, Jim Candelmo. He drove a Ferrari in his 20s, in the early 80s. And he's running around in his Ferrari, and he owned payphones. Quarters, right? Remember, they don't even know what a payphone is. My son has no idea what a payphone is. But it was a thing here, it was a thing you had to put money in to call your friends. No, for cell phones. You can look it up. Google. It's so payphones, you put money in, so he would just drive around this car, go up, open the key, dump all the quarters in his bag, put it back, go off to another one, and every day, all he did was service 10 or 12 payphones a day. That was his job. And it paid for his Ferrari and a whole lot more. That's how much money was happening right there. ATM machines is way bigger than that, and debit cards is way bigger than that. So when all of a sudden you realize how quickly it's important to have a visual for yourself that, people own ATM machines, right? Like, it's private enterprises. You can own ATM machines too. You can spend $20,000, $30,000 on an ATM machine. Anybody here actually owning ATM machines? There's different people who do. Back here, okay. So like you see people on ATM machines, they get paid. They spend a bunch of money to buy it, lease it, put it, position it, and then they get a fee, right? So here, you have a chance to issue these debit cards. I can't even believe it that for a few $100s, honestly, you're in the business of issuing debit cards. That's just the craziest business opportunity I've ever seen, just ever, because it's just something everybody does. And so that's what we want people to do. And as Eric just talked about a little bit ago, when 155 million people, we use something that everybody uses all the time. We don't have to train them at the price anybody can afford. You can write your own blank check. And so what do we say to grab people's attention? This is really important piece. So there's a lot of different things we can say to people. There's things that we can say by text. There's things we can say by phone, and obviously by emails, and just share with people. And so what I want you to think about, I'm just going to show you, run through some examples of things that you should consider. Now we have a Facebook page. There's a couple of different Facebook pages for the company. One is TranzactCard DBO Community. Raise your hand if you're a part of that one. Okay, and so there's a lot of information on that one. Again, lots of information. Most people in the company are involved with that one. And then there's one that's Transact Co-op Community. Raise your hand if you're on that one. Okay, so a lot of our team is part of that one. And then there's the TranzactCard Community, which is the company one. Raise your hand on that one. Okay, so that was the big one. That's the company one. So there's different places to get ideas. And on a daily basis, on those pages, there's examples of images. Now, the company in the back office has these really cool images. If you actually go to their Instagram page or their Facebook page, or you go to the back office and you go down on the dashboard, with the best place to hide any information at TransactCard is on your website. Because all the information is right there for most of you, like 95% of it, on the dashboard of your drive all the way down. There's all these really cool banners and ideas. You have this digital branch office, and so there's a branch office center down there that has, see these banners here? That's where you get them. You know what I did? I just went on and I grabbed the banners, and then I uploaded the banner picture to a banner company and got banners, right? So all this stuff is really just sitting there, but also great ideas to actually put on your site. And what you want to do is create curiosity. So if you want to build a big business, you just don't do it overnight in one day. So people aren't that curious. Like if you just post, hey, this is the greatest card, blah, 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 here's this great card, double your dollars, contact me. Well, that's okay when you do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's good that we encourage you. Everybody should do that. But if you think by posting one time, you're going to get great results, you really won't, because the first time people see some of these things, it seems like a sales pitch, especially if it's not your personality. If you're a really outgoing personality, people think you're salesy and they sort of discount it. And then all of a sudden, you're not that type of person and you pitch something, feel like you're selling something. That's just the psychology of learning and listening stuff. So the first time, they don't even know if you're serious, but you have to get in the process of exposing, because most advertising will tell you that you need to see a message 5, 6, 7 times before sale, even without closing. Most sales happen after the 6th close. So people actually need to see and experience ideas. And so you can drip on people, drip, drip, drip. So you take pictures. And what we do in our group all the time is we talk about what's in the pay plan. And you'll notice if you're on the Transact Co-op community site, we're like, well, what's in the pay plan? We're like, cheese is in the pay plan. Dunkin' Donuts is in the pay plan. Use your Transact card. American Airlines is in the pay plan. Netflix is in the pay plan. Herbalife's in the pay plan. Melaleuca could be in the pay plan. It doesn't matter. Your gas is in the pay plan. Roast beef sandwich is in the pay plan. Whatever you want, you can do your floors into the pay plan. So here we are, my buddy Jeff, we're in Las Vegas, not too long ago, watching John here, and we were running around. Uber was in the pay plan, right? Taxi cabs in the pay plan. So if you just start posting, we're watching tons of people on my team getting lots of customers. They just take a picture of whatever they buy, they put it on their page, and like, hey, cheese is on the pay plan, groceries are on the pay plan. So excited to buy groceries today and get paid and learn more. And then that's all you keep doing. And so every 2 or 3 days, not every day, but every couple days a week, it's in the pay plan, it's in the pay plan. Here's what happens. The curiosity drives people curious, like what's going on? So the first day, maybe not, but they hear the second time, a couple people reach out. They see it again, a couple different people reach out. Again, a couple different people reach out. When you're on Facebook, only about 9 or 10% of all the people you're connected to actually see the things you're posting. Because they're busy, they're not running around looking, snooping on your page all the time. They really don't care. They just happen to run into it sometime, or maybe they're part of that inner circle. And so, really, if you have 4,000 people, you have a few hundred people that are watching your thing, but less than that, 2% of the people engage. So, like, however many people you have, only a couple percentage of people engage. At that moment, I'm constantly fascinated by when I travel, people who look like you, and your son had such a great time in Greece. Whoa, that was such an amazing day when you're going fishing. I had no idea they paid attention to my page. Out of nowhere, people I haven't talked to or comment or something, tell me something about my life that they saw a month or so ago. That's because if they saw it, they didn't have to comment on it at the time. It wasn't really a big variable. They were aware. Everyone's aware. I promise you, we've got a drip, drip, drip campaign on the customers, like just on what it is that's in your pay plan, showing pictures of you. Nobody should leave here today without taking pictures of all the banners. Stand next to the banners while you're in front of them. You don't have your house. Get a picture with you and some of your friends, your team. Hey, this is a great banner. Let me explain what this is about. Get a hold of some people here. See if you can get a picture while you're still here. Brace with 4 or 5 cards in it. Like, make it everyone 5 people. Let's hold up the cards. It's super cool. Point at the cards. It's really fun. And so you just want to drip, drip, drip. Does it make sense? Creates curiosity will take customers. You don't need 10 customers this week. It'd be great. I mean, I'm fired up for you, but just get 10. It'll be fine. If you got 1 a week in the next 10 weeks, that's fabulous. If you continue the trend and you double the trend next year, you did 1 every week, that's 50 customers. How big is your business? How many swipes on a daily basis that you just teach people? And all they have to do is drip, 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 drip. So obviously, get your greeting card. There's a lot of marketing. There's some videos the company's been putting out there. New IT teams been putting out some videos. There's some clever ones, some fun ones, some cartoons. You see them out of that. Start to use those. Post this. Just say, direct message me. Ask me how. Really simple stuff. Here's some more pictures. Mother's in the pay plan. Somebody just recently got a parking ticket. Hey, parking tickets are in the pay plan. Speeding tickets are in the pay plan. Doesn't really make a difference. Everyone's in the pay plan. Right? So that's why I got a speeding ticket. It was awesome at 455 C-bucks. Understand how that works. You understand, you can share with other people. So here's the thing. Power comes into the teams. You got to plug into the team. Plugging into the team means where's the information? Like, who's doing what? Are you there? So if your business isn't growing, you need to plug into the team because that's where it's growing. They always talk about the grass is always greener where you water it. So where everybody's watering in this company, Eric Allen's watering, and Larry Lane is watering, that's where you need to be. Because they're sharing ideas, and maybe there's an idea, that thing that shows up for you, but bring a couple people with you. So every single time, add and tag, if there's a call, add and tag the people around you that are on your team and let them know, hey, join me on the call, jump on this call, see if there's something for you. So add and tag, right? So you got the power is in the team. And so plug into the team. Now, you constantly want to use your upline. I love, where's Chris Anella? I'll look at Chris Anella. Chris Anella is a machine. Now, where's Judy? Is Judy around here somewhere? Judy. Is Chris Anella a machine? He's a machine, right? He's amazing. Judy, VP Judy over here is like, oh, he's amazing. Chris Anella is amazing. Right? He smiles, you plug into him. Like, people are like, oh, I'll have Chris talk to him. Chris will get him. Like, Chris is a machine. Why? People come to him, he's full of energy, he's got power. Find the person on your team that's got the power when your downline is working with your upline. You're going to be making some money. So find a Chris, find the guy on your team that's fired up and gets it, that pushes forward the next vision. That's why his team's going crazy. He's got a great team. It's not just Chris, we got Robert, we got Liz, and Judy, like they work as a team. So hey, I can't do it, can you do it? Like even if I have people that aren't on his team, but they might be part of my team, if I ask Chris to talk to them, no problem, because why? He's the team. We all help each other. So plug into where the power is. Now, here's what it looks like, the trust triangle. What happens when you talk to people at the beginning? This is really critical to your success. Took me a while to get this. Some people don't have a lot of credibility right out of the gate. Some people have less. You all show up with a different speed. I like to play pickleball. How many people play pickleball in here? All right, a little pickleball, raise your hand. Okay. Well, he just so happens to have Kyle Yates over here, 7-time national champion. He's literally considered one of the greatest of all time. And so trust, so like the trust team works like this same thing works in sports. You gotta trust your partners. So when you have credibility, if I wanted to play pickleball and I say, hey, you want to learn how to play pickleball, I would like to introduce you to Kyle Yates, 7-time national champion. You're like, learn, you think you get better? The answer is yes, because they're gonna go, wow, Scott, you don't know anything. You're just an old guy. But that guy, Kyle, man, is cute, smart, fast, he's a winner. He teaches me stuff, right? So they're going to trust his ability to teach them pickleball because he's better. So if you have people in your upline, you want to introduce new people. You know why you want to introduce them in your upline? Because they know who you are already. And some of the things about you they don't like. They just don't. Do you like everything about all your friends? Nope. No. Are there certain things you absolutely can't stand about some of your friends? Yes. Are they still your friends? Yes. Are there friends of yours that are super talented but you don't trust them? Yes. Are there some people that are, your friends of yours that you'll definitely go hang out with? Yes. Are there some others you'd rather not? Yes. So what happens with the trust triangle is they know your faults and mistakes. Hey, I was an entrepreneur, I had a lot of mistakes. I mean, we take a look at baseball, people hit 300, they go in the Hall of Fame, right? You play for 10, 15 years and hit 300, hit a ball 3 out of 10 times, fail 7 out of 10 times. You go to the Hall of Fame, make $25 million a year. You're failing all the time. You're failing forward all the time. That's what happens. So if you're in a business like this, you're going to make mistakes. And you have some failures. Some people blame you on it, and some people just say maybe you didn't know, or whatever might be the case. And so your friends look at your faults typically when they assess the business. Instead of the business, they assess you. So you need to sometimes understand how you land with people. So if you have really good credibility, you have good rapport, you make good money, you're successful in general, they're just going to lean into you. But if you already know you had some misses, it's okay. Just open up with that. Hey, Bob, hey, I know this last time we missed here, man, we gave it a go and it didn't work. Or, hey, I ran into something that's really interesting to me. You know, I'm an outgoing entrepreneur. I'm always looking for good ideas. This one is really fantastic. And I'd love you to consider what I'm doing without considering you sharing it with you just for a moment. Would you be open to putting the opportunity over here? Let's assess that. Because when I saw it, I just had to join it. Are you open to that? So again, the idea is, like, if you understand not everybody trusts you, I want to introduce you to someone who's really successful, who's brought out hundreds of people, thousands of people, who has a history of success in the industry. So when you bring it up that way, I'd like to introduce you to somebody. They're interested in talking. If you say, hey, I talked about you the other day I was talking about my friend and I brought your name up. And I want to put the two of us on the phone together because we just came across something that's going to make a lot of money. We think you could be a big player. We think you could be a big key player. But he asked me to get you on the line. Would you be open to putting aside 10 or 15 minutes so I can get you on the line? See, when you tell someone, I talked about you, I was telling my friend about you, I'd like to introduce you to them. They're like, oh, you talked about me. Right? Well, yeah. Yeah. So they're excited. He was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. And so, again, trust crowd. Now when I get them on the phone, I have to introduce, Eric Allen on the phone or Bill Hoffman on the phone or whoever might be working at the time. I'm like, hey, I want to introduce you to my friend. Here's what they've done and blah, 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 blah. Then, Eric, tell me what you like best about it. Bill, what do you like best about this? Why do you think Tom should take a look at this? And now I shut up. I don't talk. And I just let my upline do the work. And so the people that are growing fastest on my teams are the ones that are bringing people. The people growing fastest with Judy's team, or Chris's team, other people's teams in the room, Larry's team. Larry's a freaking machine. Where's Larry way back there? It's a machine. He's a machine gun presentation. So the reason he's the highest level of the company is because he has the highest exposure rates. Just naturally, and the more people he talks to, the better. And they're letting him be the trust in that process. So here's the 3 keys to this industry as far as I'm concerned. Our entire career, I can put it down to this: exposure is everything, fortunes to follow up, and work with ability. So exposure to everything is really, really important. And the reason is it saves you energy. So the more people you expose this to, the less energy you will use. The less people you talk to, the more energy you will lose. Because here's what happens. If I only talk to 2 or 3 people, I'm really hoping they get in. Like I put all my energy, I'm waiting, call back, 3 days, probably sure, and they're busy, and something happens in their life, and just life gets in the way. And so when you're in a situation where you only have a couple people to talk to, you just use so much energy wondering whether they're going to get in. Yet if I expose 8 or 10 people, it doesn't matter to me at all. It's like all the exposure is everything, because guess what's going to happen? The next couple steps, I'm going to have a chance to follow up. And if I follow up very quickly out of 10 people, I know for sure a couple things are going to happen. If I show this to 10 people, 3 or 4 people are absolutely not going to be interested. I just know this. They're just not going to be interested. That's part of the follow-up process. 3 or 4 people are going to absolutely be interested. Like they're going to be, this is so cool, this is awesome. So glad you told me. And a few other people are open to it, depending on how you introduce them to the business. So if you did it naturally and you had some fun, you relaxed, and you weren't pressuring them, you weren't trying to arm wrestle them or anything, you're just like, hey, take a look at this, and you know, then they're going to see if they can see themselves doing that. And so here's all. I know some people aren't going to care. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with their journey in life. Nothing to do with me. There are a few people that definitely will get it. It has nothing to do with me. It just has everything to do with time and things going on. And then a couple people are open to it because they're trying to see that fits for them. The only thing we don't know is the order in which it's going to occur. That's the only thing we don't know. If you sign 10 people up, you might get a yes right away, and a no, and a yes. You might get a no, and a no, and a no, then a yes, and a maybe, and a no, and a yes, and a maybe. But this is what will happen. This exactly here is what will happen. Your first 10 presentations will suck. Your next 10 presentations will suck less. Your next presentations get pretty sneaky, they're good. You're getting it, you're feeling it. Now, the next presentations, they're spot on, people get it. You're nailing it right out of the gate. You're saying less to more people instead of saying too much to a few people. So you're saying less to more people. Now, your hitting percentage increases. So instead of 3 out of 10 joining, you're getting 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Now 2 people are not interested, but you got 2 or 3 now that still are. So all of a sudden you turn the tide because you're better, you're more talented, you're more observant, you have your skill set on. I mean, I remember first playing pickleball, which is crazy, a couple years ago, and I went on the court and I'd never heard my friends, oh, you have to play pickleball school, so I played. I'm like, oh, this seems pretty fun. And then I went out and I bought a paddle, and then I went to the local courts and I got beat by a lady who was 73 years old. I just got beat. I mean, she beat me a couple games in a row. I thought that makes no sense. I'm a great athlete. Like, I get this. And it makes no sense that she can hardly move. And so what was interesting to me was she didn't hardly move. I'm running all over the place, and she wins. And how is that possible? I got to rethink my strategy. Like, this makes no sense. And I realized, oh, I'm hitting the ball too high, right to her. That's not a good plan. I had to learn to keep it low. You know, make her bend over, slow. Right? But the point is, I get better, and then I realize the strategy is better. And then all of a sudden, oh, here's my playing game. And slowly evolve to where I can be a really confident player over time. But it took a lot of repetition. So, exposure is everything. Fortune to follow up. The most important, work with the willing. So, for today, it's so important to get this. Work with the people that want to work with you. Work with the people that don't deserve, and you take a look at it, like, I know Chris Sanella doesn't need my help. He's a machine. I want to work with Chris as much as possible. I'll do anything for Chris. I was just saying to Judy. Judy doesn't need me and my team. You know what? She's a machine. I mean, give it up for Judy here. Look at the ground. It almost looks like it's invisible. It wasn't me. Okay. So here's the thing. But I want to work with them because they don't need my help. That's who you want to work with. Because I want to work with the willing. So when people don't want to work with you, they don't have time for you, they're not returning your phone calls, it's okay. Because that's not how you're going to build a big business. You're going to build a massive business by working with the willing. And you learn that by figuring out how to tell your story and letting other people tell your story. So if you work with the willing, here's one of the things you want to learn really quickly. Learn a story, know a story, tell a story, tell your true story. So that's an important piece is when you build this business, what's your story? Well, what I tell people a story about, I was looking for Transact. I called my buddy John on the phone. I wanted to ask him about a travel circuit for pickleball business. He says, hey, before I tell you that, I want to tell you what I'm up to. And he tells me, and I'm like, wow, that's really true. I gotta take a look at that. I have to do that. So really quickly, that was my story. And then all of a sudden, I got in. It took 3 weeks for me to put 100 people in the business, and 2 weeks to get 100 more, and literally another week to get 100 more, then 5 days to get 100 more, then 3 days to get 100 more. Then it was hundreds, and then it was 1,000. Now it's almost 2,000. It's like all of a sudden, in all 3 months, 4 months, it just goes crazy. And it was just a repetition. That's my story. And it's like, hey, I didn't even have a card. How many people here still don't have a card? I didn't have a card either until like I had 1,000 people on my team before I had a card. I didn't sit around waiting for the card. Like I understand when I get the card, it works. How many people know if you use a debit card, it works? Like, I didn't need to try it or smell it or taste it or I just was more, for me, it was just like, hey, when it gets here, it's great. I'm just playing the story, right? So when you have to do the statement, you have to learn the story. You have to master it. So call your upline, senior manager, and help them craft a story for you. I've been in the business X amount of years. This is what I see in it, or here's been my usage habits, or here's what I'm spending, here's my usage budget, here's what I see for myself. Just ask people, do you know anybody that might be interested? Real key question. Do you know anybody that might be interested? So when we build a business, it's with structure inside. So here's what we want to look as a mature DBO. You want to enroll 3 TCMs. Those are customers. Become customer qualified. This is the key to the business right here. In terms of structure, get 3 TCMs, right? Attract 20 TCMs to become a mature DBO. So you want to be commission qualified, get 3, but 120, 20 vision. Ultimately, you want 20 customers, 20 DBOs, and duplicate. So if you have 3 teams, essentially team 1, team 2, and team 3, and you taught team 1 to get 20 DBOs and 20 customers, that would be senior manager, no problem. Senior manager makes you a VP. It's like 20/20 vision, right? So it's very, very simple. So we have 20 DBOs, and you have 20 customers, 400 customers, 400 customers. It wouldn't be 400 because you wouldn't end up with just a small amount right there. So if you have 20 DBOs, you probably have 1,000 customers over time. So not the first month, but in a couple of months. And so you have to think about the exponential impact of a really strong person. So one of the challenges people are joining the business, they're not onboarding people properly. They don't get in quick enough. Sort of show them what they need to. And let's say, hey, let's build this for, at the very least, let's build this till 3 months after launch, all right? Till somewhere in February. Let's build it to that. And let's go get you 20 DBOs and 20 customers, and let's go after it right now. Let's go build a model like that. Then we'll evaluate after that. How's that fair? Great. Then what we're going to do, we're going to make $3,000 doing it. Maybe you make 10,000. I don't really know because individual efforts vary. Everybody, we don't know how much someone's going to earn. But that's a good example of what it takes, 20/20 vision. And now you're going to celebrate $500, $1,000 a month. And you're going to become a senior manager. Duplicate. You don't have to know anything else about the compensation plan if you don't want to. Now here's what I know, 10% of you want to know everything about the compensation plan. We get it. You don't want to know it all. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you become president if you haven't figured out how to get senior manager yet. So since in this room here, we only have a couple dozen senior managers, the first step should be, man, let's just get senior manager. If this whole group here went senior managers, there'd be enormous amount of VPs in this room and senior VPs in there. Like, what business working right here? We could restart the entire company today, right now, in this room, and say, let's just follow this plan right here. And we can have 100 VPs from this room right here in 90 more days. Just from this one simple room, easily 2020 vision, senior manager, figure that out, study it, and then just duplicate it. And same kind of thing. Our job is to manage and grow managers, right? So we can aid these manager branch, we teach people how to become managers, helping 3 people succeed. Duplicate. That's how the compensation plan works. Don't overthink it. Just get someone in, walk them through it, they're going to get there. I'm telling you, I was in a meeting last night with the founders of the company and some of the top speakers and leaders. And man, we are excited about our future. I can tell you some of the stuff the company's coming out with in September, October, November. Man, it's amazing. The VP Summit, the technology we have, I mean, the app. I'm so fired up to see the things you're going to be able to see on your phone. The speed at which you can tell the story is just amazing. So that speed of exposure really matters. And it's all about building this team. So that's all we want to do. So if you want to go up from there, really, really simple. The best way to go senior manager is enroll 6 DVOs. And here's what really ends up happening. Not everybody decides to run at the same time. So not everybody runs. Anybody, these farmers in here, everybody plant plants. You put seeds in the ground, some grow up, some don't, right? Some falls on the wayside, as you say, right? So some gets a program, some goes up and dries out, right? So we know that that's how that works. So if you bring in 6 DVOs, go talk to 15, 20 people, bring in 6 or 7 customers, 6 or 7 DVOs, some people say no. Of the 6, 3 will start to run and duplicate. That's how it works. When you get there, that's what it looks like. So that's what the pattern looks like. In general, to be a senior manager, you're going to have 30 to 50 people on your team. That looks like around 30 to 50. You start to get to be senior manager. You get there at 12, but it's probably around 30 to 50. You want to be a VP, it's about 300. So when you have about 300 people on your team, you'd be a VP. You know, some people get there with 100, 150, but it's about 300. It's kind of what it looks like. And nothing's going to be structured. It doesn't really matter because it's measurable progress over time. Again, I'm still learning how to play pickleball. You know, at Kyle Yates, I tried to play pickleball last night. I'm working on my singles. I play a really high level game of singles, so it's hard to find people who want to play the level I want to play and run around. Like, you know, Kyle's younger, he's national champ. I'm like, yeah, I'll go play Kyle. So we get out and we go play. And I'm like, I'm just going to give it everything I have. And even though I wasn't perfect that day, I'm going after him Monday or Tuesday. At the time he played, I went out and I was a bit blue. And he crushed me. And he crushed me. Just like, and I'm like, I lost 11-4, 11-5, and it was like, and it wasn't even that close because I was running around like I was playing the old lady, and he was standing still, he was just playing with me, and he owned me. You know, so law of averages over time, and that's really what happens. And so, but the model, he showed me, and then I started working on that model, and I know what it takes to be a good player, and I practice, and I have it. So I know I'm better than I've ever been, right? It doesn't matter, I'll never be the best, but I can be the best me today. You can be the best you today. You can be the best leader today, the best senior manager today, the best manager today. You got all of that. And all this just comes down to this business here. So here's how I structure my time. Who's got the clock real quick, just so I manage time? An actual time, what time is it? 2:30, oh, awesome. Killing it, okay. All right, so here's your structure. You want to understand your every business has a breathing. It has a rhythm. People like music, right? It's got a rhythm to it, right? Have you ever been in the outdoors? I'm a big backpacker, nature guy. I love listening to the water. I love listening to the birds, the animals, stuff like that. You ever heard like the rhythm of nature? Of your nature, just sit back. Oh, that's awesome. Just listen. You feel the rhythm. You feel the rhythm. If you're in a street, if you're in a big town, there's a rhythm to the traffic. Have you ever lived in a town or an apartment in like New York City or something like that? Street traffic, right? And the rhythm is, it's loud a lot during the day. At night it starts getting quiet. And then it's really quiet. And then every now and then you might hear this one weird noise, but like really it's quiet. And then about 5 in the morning, the noise picks up. And then it picks up a little more. It's like 5:30, it's like 6 o'clock, and it's like louder, the traffic's louder. And then it's louder, it's super loud. Probably happens to your house too. There's a rhythm to building your business. And the rhythm goes like this. The pay period ends on Friday night. So last night the pay period ended. Hallelujah. Today, man, today is payday. And it's payday because we get a load of freshman class. And so I think of the week as the rhythm. So on Saturday and Sunday and Monday, the next 3 days, you're just planting seeds. You're loading the freshman class. You're telling as many people as you can about the business for the next 3 days. 10 in play and 3 today. The idea is you want to have 10 conversations going at any time. Get 3 people to make a decision every single day. 10 in play, 3 today. Get them to make a decision, yes or no, or maybe later, or I'll be a customer. It doesn't really matter what their answer is. You're in the decision-making business. You're not trying to convince people. Just make them make a decision and move on so you can work with the willing. So you load the freshman class the first few days. Today, when you get what you learn, tomorrow set yourself up, expose people, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Now here's what happens. Most people, the majority of people, 90% of the people don't sign up right after they hear about it. I mean, it does happen, but it's just, most people are rational. They're like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Is it too good to be true? Maybe I have to ask some other questions. How does that really work? How do they do that with that hard? How's that possible? Just, normal, common questions that you're going to have. That's going to happen for a couple days. But if you're waiting, you only tell 1 or 2 people, and now you're going to wait a couple of days for people to ask you a couple of questions. You're really wasting a ton of time. The only difference between you and everyone else that's growing faster is their speed of exposure. So you load the freshman class the first couple of days, and now they're in the decision business, right? And then they're decision making, and they're signing up. So people are signing up on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They're coming around. You're introducing them to 3-way calls to your upline. You're getting them on the extra training call, the extra Zoom call. So you just load them in. You don't have to do the work. I mean, the first month or so, I did about 4 presentations. And all I did after that, all I did was send people Eric's presentation, whoever's doing the presentation, that's all I did. I didn't have to do it. I mean, I'm capable of doing it. Why would I do it when they do such a good job? And that's extra time for me. I just want to answer their questions when they're done. So you want to be in the decision-making business. If you're not helping people make decisions, you're not building, you're not advancing, you're not making money. So that's what you want to do. So the midweek and now, on Wednesday and Thursday you start looking at your genealogy, like, oh, this person's got 2. This one's got 2. Oh, this one's only 1 away from senior manager or going here. You call them up and you want to work with them. Hey, let's get that 3rd one done. Let's move you along. What do you have in your pipeline? Have you talked to 2 or 3 people the last couple of days? Well, who's the most promising? Well, let's talk to them. Let's get after that. So now you're in the upgrade mode. So why are you trying to upgrade everybody? So Thursday to Friday is all about upgrading because whatever managers you get in the system by Friday night, you get paid the following Friday. That's how it works. And so if you have the opportunity, like getting paid, how many people like to get paid? Better have more than less of it. Better have it sooner or later. So you want to get it sooner or later, you got it in by Friday night, right? Then it moves along. So that's the rhythm of the week. So 10 to play and 3 today, right? That's what I'm talking about. Get those numbers going. You got a rhythm to the week. Early in the week, load the freshman class. If you go to a college, how many people here have been to college? Raise your hand. Keep it up. How many people graduated from college? That same group? All right, less. See? So what happens is people get into things. How many people got a real estate license in their life? Right? Raise your hand. High. How many people sold 10 pieces of real estate? Oh, those hands are down there. So so what happens is people this sounds like a great idea, but they don't get to the other side. It's hard, right? So when you're building a business, you have to realize you have to load the freshman class. You have to get people in the system. That's entirely up to you. After you get people and you understand our numbers, and you're new, one of the most important things you can do with your teammates and people is actually get them to go through the dashboard. So I bring you on. What's your name now? Elaine? Elaine. So I bring Elaine on. I'm like, Elaine, as soon as you sign up, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the back office. I want you to go to the bottom of the page. I want you to the dashboard. I want to see a bunch of PDFs. And I want you to get nosy. I just want you to bounce around there and just click on and open up everything you can find and just read the frequently asked questions. Learn about the compliance. Learn about how to get your card. Before you do anything, just bounce through there and come back to me with some questions. Let's talk about the questions. Because it's good for you to get those out right now with me. Let me help you answer any questions you may have. It'd be good to know that the first 24, 48 hours. So you go in there, and that's exactly what you do. And you know what's in there? How many people have that handout we handed out today? All right, just hold your hand, look at the back page. That thing on the back page, see right there? That's in your, that PDF is in your back office. You walk people through it. Who's your upline? Your goal, what you want to accomplish. Like it's right there. So you got people who go through, hey, I want you to go through the back office. I want you to look at the questions. I want you to print this document. And I want you to start to fill it. Let's talk about this. Let's get an idea of where we want to go, what speed we want to get there, what the results when we get to the other side. That's what the dashboard for now in the future. To do that, all the things are coming. Company will load that for extra videos, client videos coming in, marketing videos, and how to use the website, how to launch things on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Lots of information back there. I'll be on the phone too. Super excited about that. But for now, just get people to get in and get the information. Now, it's silly if you spend thousands of dollars to go to college and then you just don't get educated. Open the book. You didn't take the classes, so you don't get the grades. That's not how it works, right? You actually have to open the book at some point. You have to take the test, and the best way to take the test is to read the information. Well, all the answers are in the back office. There's the dashboard, it's all right there. The answers are there. So, like, we have to start with, hey, the best place to hide it is your back office. Because that's where people need to look first, and then they go to their senior manager, right? That's what we want. So let's be really smart about it. In closing, I just think about this business, and to me, it's the ultimate direct selling business. It's really, really smart. Look at TranzactCard. We have a massive market size. Other companies have really tiny niches. Maybe there's some amazing products out there that help your hair grow. That's awesome. Your nails grow. That's great. You run faster. That's awesome. Lose the pound. That's also very good. You know, you have great eyelashes. I think that's nice thing. You know? I mean, all these things are cool, but they're niches. But everybody spends money. Ours is massive. The others, everything's commissionable. You know, what's in your pay plan? Everything's in the pay plan. Other companies limited. It's simple to explain, and I don't have to explain to people how to spend money. It's very, very simple. Really, it's a service that literally everyone is using all the time. If you think about the number of people, and 90% of the adults out there using it, that's pretty simple to find customers. We have a simple plan. You get paid 10 levels if you earn it, you know, like up to 10 levels on people, introducing people to the business that are spending money. Everybody's good at spending money. Raise your hand if you're good at spending money. How many people here know some people that spend money? All right, you're gonna be great at this business. Congratulations. That's what we do. We get paid 10 levels of people spending money. I don't have to go into you do this. You get 3 people, you get 12. They get 3, you get 120 customers. You get up to 10 levels of people spending money. It's a commissionable debit card. One of the things I think is most interesting, if the company, the only thing the company had was the ability to pay 10 levels on a commissionable debit card, I think it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's a simple, be the largest customer acquisition model that's ever existed. And there's no doubt we should have more cards in the market as a debit card than any bank in America. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Because they're wrong. You can't do that. You can't have to go to Wells Fargo and refer someone to get an account to get paid when they spend money on the groceries. So it doesn't matter whether it's 1% back, 2% back, 10% back, all those different cards. Yeah, they don't pay you on everybody's expenses. And we do. We do. Isn't that interesting? I love Jim Rohn. He's one of my favorites. He's like, isn't that interesting? You can find it in the book, in the library. Libraries are free. Free. Your head, if you ever want to go, it's free. No. It's crazy to me. And so it's free. It's your back office. Where is it located? It's in your back at John. They just learned everything's in the back office. It's free. It's free. So, bottom line is, we are in a business. We are in the right place at the right time. We have something nobody has. We have a moment in time that we get to test it. We get to be a part of the formulation of it. We get the privilege of knowing what it was like at the beginning. And I bring myself back to the bank PayPal. How many people here have seen PayPal? Heard of PayPal, right? Long before there was PayPal, there was a company called X.com started by Elon Musk. And it was a pay card. It was literally a debit card. It was an online debit card back in 2000, so a long time ago. And I had one. I was one of the first 500 customers of that particular card. I was in the tech business at the time, and I flew up there, met Elon and his staff. He had a house, and in the house was like 50 programmers in one house. And they just launched this card, and I had a big website with lots of people. And this was perfect. And at the time, you could get this card, and if we would refer this card on our website, they would pay us $20 every time someone became a customer. And they would pay us $5 a year for the first 3 years. And the company put $20 million in venture capital in that initiative to bring on a million customers. That was their goal. And that was their burn rate. Like, we should spend $20 million acquiring customers. And they did, and what was interesting is, that was 20 years ago, and all you really got paid one time. And I think back in time, because we said thousands of people that site, I was thinking about, man, how cool would have that been to get paid for the last 20 years? Like, if that would have been the model back then, you know, I mean, it's crazy what would have happened. But it took technology a while, it took business a while, and we had that opportunity. What was interesting at that moment in time was, we didn't get an opportunity to benefit on everybody else. But we have the opportunity to look back and go, wow, I remember when. Like, if you look back at what AOL looked like a long time ago, what email looked like, or what Amazon was at the beginning, we can look back at that. But we get a chance to look back at this moment right now. We get to move forward, but we can look back because we're here right now. I remember when we were working through it. I remember when we couldn't get our money into the account, that was annoying. I remember that. I remember I couldn't get my card, that was annoying. I remember when my C-Bucks didn't show up for 48 hours. God, I was frustrated. Go back and man, you know how easy you have it. It's so easy. You get a card in 3 weeks, man, you're lucky, you know, because you had to be back then. Don't see what's going to happen in the future. It's going to be crazy because we made it so. We tested it. We broke it. We had fun with it. We gave feedback. If you've been frustrated or annoyed, good. Share your frustration with your senior manager. The senior manager can tell you to zip it. Just zip it here. You haven't even launched yet. Be quiet. And then, man, figure it out between the two of you. Then move on. Okay? Because this is your moment. Once in 2 years, say, I'm glad I did it, I wish I would have. And you're going to look at this moment, this company, your sponsor. You're going to say, thank you. I am grateful. I'm here because of you. And it's completely transformed and changed my lives. And so when it says TranzactCard, banking changes forever, what it means is it's going to change your future, your fortunes, and your family. God bless you. Wherever you All right. All right, that's fun. All right, what time is it? That's all. Ian. Ian, we're just raising your hand. Ian, where are you? Okay, Ian. I am going to do an audible really quick. You're gonna come up right after the break. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do really quick. We're gonna have some fun. So I want to get you to a break sooner for a second for a reason, and I want to bring you back. Okay, so we're gonna have some fun in that the company. How many people here have heard of these things called flash sales? Okay, so one of the exciting things about this company is this whole concept of flash sales, right? And so how many people have heard of these things? Right? Okay. So when we get back from the break, okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the power of flash sales. Just out of curiosity here, how many people here, raise your hand, have got something in a flash sale? Is there people across the country? Raise your hand. All right, so cool. So what did you get? What was it you got? Women's skincare. What else? Water bottle. What else? Ukulele. What? A blanket. That's like a snuggie. Right? What else do we get?
Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Ray-Ban sunglasses. Who got the bike? Who's that? Anyone buy? Oh, who got the razor? Like, oh, yeah. All right, so you got the electric scooter is what it was. All right. So here's the thing. There's lots of different products, and what's really interesting about the business itself is that it's diverse. And I think it's really important that just like you spend money differently, like everybody has different spending habits, people get excited about different things. And the idea of having a store that has hundreds of thousands of items and millions in the future is exciting because everybody can find something like that, right? Well, that's the same thing with a flash sale. And the flash sale is designed to catch someone's eye. It's not always there to catch your eye. You're like, hey, maybe I don't need women's skincare that day, but maybe I do, And so maybe I want shoes. Maybe all of a sudden they have some cool Bose speakers and they have, the ocular glasses and all these things. The idea is to come up with things that excite you or people. So if you have 100 people on your team and maybe 5% of those people care, it's great. It doesn't matter what 5%. It's like they're exciting. They order it, they get it, and they redeem some of their Z-Bucks. It goes into the power save. All this is great. It's designed to stimulate you to pay attention and go, man, this could be anything. So we're in beta testing, right? We're in pre-launch. And so the company's testing categories, it's testing products, it's trying to see if you like them, if you want. It wants to see how much shipping costs. How are we going to manage shipping? Do we include shipping? Do we not include shipping? Do we include it on these kind of items, not on these kind of items? What do people respond to? How many clicks on that? Like if you put something up and a lot of people see it, they start clicking on it, they want to know, wow, that was a lot of clicks, we need to bring stuff back like that. If all of a sudden they have vacations, and it was like, well, here's Hawaii, or here's Mexico, or maybe here's the Bahamas or something, it's like, well, which one do people like more? So we want you to know that the whole idea behind Z-Bucks is for people to go out there and get excited and share it. You're always going to get it. So maybe you get some a few times a year. Maybe you get one every month because you're on top of it. But you don't know when it's going to happen. That's the whole idea. You might have it at 10 o'clock in the morning, you might have it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you might have it at 5. We don't really know. The reason is the company pre-sets it up. There's not somebody in the office who's like, coffee break time. I'm going to sneak one up on these guys, man. What do I get today in the truck? The judge today. There goes. Okay, then what the Star Wars name is. So that's not what happens. So the company organizes to get all these things out there, and then they buy them, and they're like, okay, we're going to time it, and it's going to be these times throughout the week, and here's the amount of items we have, and it just goes. And then somebody goes about their business and they do with it. So it's really important to know that that's generally how that process works. We don't really know. We're never going to really know. But as the company gets bigger, there'll be more and more items. And instead of having one flash sale on one day, there might be 5 items. In the future, you can see if we have a big organization, maybe 10 items. Or maybe it's a collection, or maybe it's a category, or maybe it's themed, maybe it's Barbie-themed items. It doesn't, Barbies are hot, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's important for you to know that that's how it works, right? And so people keep checking and refreshing their screens. And some people get them and some people don't. So everybody understand that? That's how that goes? All right, what time is it? What time is it right now? 2:57. Okay, so we're going to have a break over the next 15 minutes, okay? And so over the next 15 minutes, give you a chance to get some water, go get your tickets and stuff. You're going to hear a lot of noise. We're going to bring you back with a great afternoon session. We're going to have Ian and Larry, which are amazing. We're going to have John and Richard, amazing. We're going to have a Q&A session. If you have questions, how many people have some questions they'd love to ask? 6 o'clock. Here's the deal with, if you have any questions, you can write them on a piece of paper or something, and just leave them on the stage here after, during the break. Anything you want. And then later this afternoon, what we're going to do is we're going to answer the questions as best we can. And if we want to do categories, like it's comp plan or maybe business, doesn't matter. Just maybe put the category at the top. If you have any questions at all. And then also, for those of you that might be interested, check the flash sale during the break. Maybe go on and do something. So might be a possibility that some people across the United States have some fun with that today too. So you'll hear about 15 minutes, be right back there. We'll start up with TOP. All right. They only drop the insulin pen they want it during the break. Insulin pen, have one, reason one, insulin pen, that's one. Oh, so is these four?
Start to stream on your side. When you end it on this side, and then you start it over there in 15 minutes. Starting in 15 minutes.